All right, so this is week 3, and we're talking about set 1, SWYK 1 notes. So absolute value is a distance, right? Good old number line stuff, 0. Well, this particular equation is saying identify every single point which is 3 units away from 0. Well, of course, we got 3 on one side and -3 on the other side. That's why there are 2 answers to this question. Now, when an absolute value function is isolated, now what do I mean by isolated? What I mean is there's nothing like this. There's nothing like on the outside addition or multiplication, none of that stuff. When I mean isolated, I mean it is by itself on this side. When it is by itself, then you can split the inequality into 2 parts, into 2 equations. The first one, well, it pretty much looks exactly like the original one without absolute value bars. The second one is equal to the opposite of the right side. Now, the opposite of 3 is obviously -3. Now, why do I say the opposite of the right side? Because eventually that's going to be an expression, not in this particular SWYK, but in the future. Anyway, so I'm going to clear that off and move to a more difficult example. Okay, not that this is a real difficult example. Is the absolute value bar isolated? Yes, it's all by itself. So we can immediately split it up. And when we do, we get 2x equals 14 and 2x equals -14. So one of our answers is 7 and the other answer is -7. Now don't automatically think, oh, if one's 7, the other one's -7. That's not always true. And future examples are going to prove that to you. It does happen to be the case in this because the only thing you had to do was divide by a number. But let's go to a different example here and find out what I mean. So, question 2. Are the absolute value bars isolated? Yes, they are, so we can split it up. First one, x minus 8 equals 29. Second one, x minus 8 equals -29. Of course, we're going to add 8 to both sides, okay? And so we get an x value of what, 37? And we're going to add 8 here, and don't tell me that -37 is the answer because it ain't so. -21 is the answer for the second one. Still adding 8, but we don't get opposite answers. All right? So, just thought I'd show you that example. Now, what happens if you're not isolated? Let's take a look at that. Well, oops, sorry. Solve the equation. Where is my timer? I don't get that. I'm going to have to figure that part out. So the first thing I'm going to do to isolate the absolute value bars is divide by 4. That's how I got rid of the multiplication by 4. And now it is isolated, which is exactly what I wanted. Now I can split it up. I can split it into its 2 equations, one equal to 24 and one equal to -24. And of course I'm going to add 6, so that's 3x equals 30. Let's get rid of that just so that doesn't confuse the heck out of people, right? We added the 6. Of course, we're going to add the 6. That would give me -18 equals 3x. And then, of course, we're going to divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. So 10 is one of the answers. And -6 is the other answer. Okay? Now, your least favorite thing in the whole wide world is this thing that says check your answers. I'll give you an example of how we could do that or why we would do that. It's more important to do that kind of thing when we have variables that are outside the absolute value bars. And as you can see from my original question, none of the variables sit outside the absolute value bars. It's really when you have something like that that we really need to check our answers. However, the next example I'm going to show you right here is a little unusual. Are the absolute value bars isolated? Heck no, they're not. Right? Right here. We got plus 11. Get it out of there. All right, so we're going to subtract 11 from both sides, right? And then we get something really weird. What do you mean, Mr. Staley? Well, it says that the absolute value of something, which you and I both know that the absolute value is the distance away from zero, and it says that the absolute value of something is -3. I thought distances were all positive. They are. So, this is a trick question. There is no answer. No solution. Don't waste your time on something like this, okay? When you see that the absolute value equals a negative number, you're not supposed to. I mean, hey, if you want to, we could split it up, right? 5n minus 5 equals -3. 5n minus 5 equals +3, right? And so you're going to add 5. That'd be 8. 5n equals 8. N equals, if you divide by 5, you get 1.6. And 5n, that's 8 over 5, by the way, just in case you were wondering. Add 5 and you would get 2, and then divide, so that you would get n equals 2/5 or 0.4. I don't care if you like fractions or decimals, whichever you prefer. 8/5, 2/5, 0.4, 1.6. Guess what? You plug them back in, you ain't going to get -3. So, what I'm telling you is, this would be an example where you can plug them back in, but I would really like you to see this right here and go, heck no, I ain't wasting my time doing all that crap. I don't need to because I know there's no solution. Anyway, that should be your notes for this particular SWYK. Have a wonderful day. And see if I can stop this video. Where are my controls? Seriously.